Before we dive into a story that spans centuries, make sure to subscribe and join this journey, because what you're about to discover isn't just about a coin, it's about history, craftsmanship, and a piece of the past that could change how you look at wealth. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll see why collectors and history buffs alike have been captivated by one of the most intriguing coins ever minted. Imagine a time when coins weren't just currency, but a symbol of power, prestige, and legacy. Every detail engraved on them told a story of empires rising and falling, of kings and queens whose reigns were immortalized in precious metal. Among these coins lies a gem that often slips under the radar, yet carries a tale that rivals the most celebrated treasures in numismatic history, the South African 1/2 pound half sovereign of 1959. The year 1959 was more than just a date on a coin. Globally, it was a time of transition. Nations were rebuilding, economies were shifting, and in South Africa, a country rich in gold and history, a decision was made that would leave a mark for generations. Minted in the finest gold, this half-sovereign was not intended for everyday commerce. It was created to celebrate heritage, to appeal to collectors, and to serve as a tangible piece of wealth, something that could outlast fleeting economic turmoil. To hold this coin in your hand is to hold a fragment of a story that spans centuries. The South African 1/2 pound half sovereign was modeled on designs that trace back to the British sovereigns, a lineage of coins that had shaped commerce and trust in currency across continents. Every curve of the Queen's portrait, every lettering detail, every millimeter of gold reflects the precision and artistry of a mint that understood the value of perfection. But what truly sets this coin apart is not just the craftsmanship, it's the rarity. Minting numbers were deliberately low. Unlike coins intended for circulation, half-sovereigns were produced in limited quantities, each piece intended to become part of private collections, tucked away in albums or hidden in safes. Over the decades, many of these coins have been lost, melted down, or simply forgotten. Yet a few survived, retaining their luster, their historical aura, and their promise of wealth. For collectors, discovering one is akin to unearthing a hidden treasure chest buried beneath the sands of time. Now, imagine the intrigue this coin carries. It is not just gold. It is a story of colonial influence, economic shifts, and the quiet artistry of a mint that understood how to turn metal into history. Every line etched on its surface whispers tales of the era it was born in, of South Africa's gold mines, the miners who extracted wealth from the earth, and the global demand that turned these coins into objects of desire. Collectors often talk about the aura of certain coins, and the 1959 half-sovereign carries one of the most potent auras in numismatics. It is a symbol of rarity, but also of persistence, the way something tangible can withstand decades of change and remain coveted. Consider the imagery. On one side, the dignified portrait of the monarch watches silently, a reminder of governance and tradition. On the other, the heraldic design celebrates a nation rich in resources, yet on the cusp of modernity. This juxtaposition is subtle but powerful, offering a glimpse into a moment in history frozen in metal. For a man who appreciates history, who values objects with meaning, this coin becomes more than a collectible, it becomes a conversation starter, a status symbol, and a direct connection to the past. The market for such coins is unique. Unlike stock or property, whose values fluctuate with external forces, rare coins carry intrinsic allure. Their value is determined not only by weight in gold but by scarcity, condition, and provenance. Experts often describe this as a premium on history. And the South African 1/2 pound half sovereign of 1959 exemplifies this perfectly. Its limited minting, combined with exceptional preservation in the hands of collectors, makes it a rare commodity, a coin that could command attention anywhere in the world, whether in a private auction or a personal collection. And yet, there's an element of suspense that keeps collectors returning. Unlike some coins whose value is predictable, the half-sovereign has stories of discovery, of coins surfacing after decades in attics or safety deposit boxes. One may have been sitting quietly in a wooden chest, overlooked for generations, before a keen eye recognized its worth. Every coin carries potential. Every coin tells a story. And the 1959 half-sovereign. Its story is one that builds quietly, until the moment it is fully revealed. It is worth pausing to consider the context of gold itself. Gold has always fascinated mankind, not merely as a medium of exchange, but as a symbol of enduring value. From ancient civilizations to modern collectors, gold has been the anchor against uncertainty. The South African gold coins are especially notable because the country itself has been central to global gold production. Holding a half-pound half-sovereign minted in 1959 is holding more than a coin, it is holding a connection to one of the world's most storied gold economies, a slice of history forged deep in the mines of the Witwatersrand, refined by skilled hands, and cast into a form meant to endure centuries. Collectors often describe an almost spiritual connection to coins like this. They are drawn not only to the gold but to the story, to the rarity, to the idea that something tangible has survived wars, economic shifts, and the relentless passage of time. There's suspense in owning something that few others have seen, something that quietly carries a world of history and potential value. Imagine the anticipation as you inspect the coin under light, noticing the crisp details, the reflective surface, the unmistakable weight that signals authenticity and quality. Each observation heightens your connection, until you feel the pulse of history in your palm. Now, let's talk about scarcity, because this is where the 1959 half-sovereign truly shines. Unlike coins minted in the thousands or millions, this coin had a limited run. Many were lost to time. Some were exchanged, melted, or simply discarded in an era when coins were more about utility than investment. For today's collector, this scarcity translates into significant value, and the thrill of possessing a coin that few others can claim adds a psychological edge that pure numbers cannot capture. It is a blend of history, art, and opportunity, all encapsulated in a single piece of gold. Collectors between the ages of 35 and 65, especially men who have seen the ebb and flow of markets and the rise and fall of investments, often appreciate the subtlety of a coin like this. Unlike fleeting trends, a half-sovereign commands respect. It demands careful handling, thoughtful consideration, and a recognition that true value often comes from rarity and historical resonance. It is not about instant gratification, it is about the long game, the legacy, the story you carry forward for future generations. As we progress through this journey, you might ask yourself, why this coin? Why the South African 1/2 pound half sovereign from 1959? The answer lies in its perfect intersection of history, craftsmanship, and scarcity. It is a coin that appeals to the collector's intellect and aesthetic sense, while also resonating with those who understand the power of tangible wealth. The story is subtle yet compelling, a quiet coin with an enduring presence, whose full impact only becomes clear when placed within the broader tapestry of history and global numismatics. And here's the fascinating part, owning this coin is not just about possession. It is about connection. It is a conversation starter, a piece of heritage, a reminder that wealth is not only measured in currency but in stories, in craftsmanship, and in rarity. Each half-sovereign carries whispers of the past, stories of the mint, the miners, and the collectors who cherished it over decades. The suspense builds as you realize that this is not a coin easily replaced, and its value is poised to captivate anyone who